Hey everyone, it's Tom June here and welcome back to another round of UK space news updates. In today's video we're going to take a look at NASA's SWOT mission, a funding update from the UK Space Agency, and asking just what in the heck is going on with Virgin Orbit. All this and more, so stay tuned and let's get rolling.
Alright, lift off and the clock has started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another installment of UK Space News Updates, the channel where I try to bring you the latest and very best news from the UK spaceflight industry. And we start this week with NASA's SWOT mission, which stands for Surface Water and Ocean Topography. It was a joint international partnership between NASA, the French space agency CNES, the Canadian Space Agency and the UK Space Agency, and hence why I'm able to mention it on this channel. It launched aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from Vandenberg Space Force Base on Friday the 16th of December. As with most Falcon 9 launches, it's becoming something of routine for them, and the SWOT satellite was duly deposited into orbit a few minutes after its takeoff from California. Now, this mission is quite an interesting one, and as I've already mentioned, the UK Space Agency has quite a hand to play. You see, going back to the very early days of this mission, it was actually a scientist based in England who first proposed the idea to NASA. After some collaboration between the UK Space Agency and the French Space Agency, NASA came on board as well as the Canadian Space Agency, and it truly became an international partnership. Now, this mission is the first of its kind and is aiming to map 90% of the world's surface water features. It's going to allow oceanographers and hydrologists, along with other international partners, to make the first global survey of Earth's surface water and observe the finer details of the ocean's surface topography. It'll also aim to measure how water bodies change over time, with one of the other key principles looking at the ocean's ability to retain heat and how that eventually dissipates into the atmosphere and how that affects global climate change. SWOT is going to use a revolutionary radar instrument named CARIN, which is a Ka band spectrum radar, to survey at least 90% of the Earth's surface. It will monitor and measure changes in the oceans, lakes or lochs if you're in Scotland, reservoirs, rivers and wetlands to produce data over a period of 3 years that's going to help improve our understanding of climate change and also to predict and mitigate against flood risks around the world. Now, speaking of that CARIN radar system, it was actually built right here in the UK by Honeywell after the UK Space Agency awarded them £12.2 million to develop it. And it's really a vital piece of kit here because it's going to route the radar signals around the satellite, as well as some other interesting key features. The UK Space Agency also partnered with the Natural Environment Research Council, and between them investing, just shy of £400,000 into SWOT UK-based science research projects, and they're looking to cover areas including the Bristol Channel and the Severn Estuary. Now, I have provided a link in the description below, so if you are keen to see more and learn more about the UK Space Agency's involvement in SWOT, then please check it out below. It's really interesting. Now, if you are sticking with me here on this channel, as I've said many times now, we are continuing to grow, so I'm going to shamelessly plug this. If you do like the video, give that thumb a tick. Do consider subscribing to the channel for future updates on all things UK spaceflight based. Now we move on to a UK Space Agency funding update, and this past week it was announced that they have awarded £2.7 million to 13 early stage technology projects across the whole of the UK. That includes projects in England, Scotland and Wales, and ultimately that's going to aim to support the satellite launch sector. So as you might imagine, Saxavord, the spaceport up in Shetland that's currently in development and getting closer and closer to being able to launch that first rocket around the end of Q1 in 2023, they have a sizable chunk of change. Again, somewhere in the region of £300,000 was awarded to them. The UK government put launch services somewhere in the region of a value of £3.8 billion to the UK economy over the next decade, and in particular they are really keen to see startups get a share of that prize, so it's no surprise to see some of these names listed on screen. and this is a continuation of the UK government and the UK Space Agency's commitment to small startups to grow the satellite sector, which the UK has been well known for over the past couple of decades. And again, I keep mentioning this phrase, but we are coming into a golden age of UK spaceflight here, so everything is just an added bonus at this point. Now, we come to another Virgin Orbit update, and this next bit is going to get a little bit ranty, so do stay with me here if you can. You see, about 2 weeks ago, I released my last video, which was a playthrough of Kerbal Space Program, where I tried to recreate the Virgin Orbit Start Me Up mission from Spaceport Cornwall. If you've not seen that video already, please do go and check it out. I was really happy with the way it turned out. Not only is it a fun little playthrough because I built Cosmic Girl in KSP and Launcher 1, was the mission successful? I don't know, you're going to have to look for yourself. But it also gives you all the information and a full run through of the mission profile that you can expect to see. So talking of that, funnily enough, on the same day that I released my video, Virgin Orbit came out with an update, and they announced, unexpectedly rather, that December the 14th was going to be their date for launch from Spaceport Cornwall. Amazing, we all thought, finally we have the launch set before the end of the year. But as with all things Virgin Orbit, unfortunately it wasn't to be, and just a few short days later they announced that due to technical and regulatory setbacks, the mission was off until after Christmas. Well, the Civil Aviation Authority, who were clearly getting the blame here, and I'm going to come on to them in just a little second, they fired back basically saying, it's not our problem, and it's all to do with technical issues on Virgin Orbit's side. Cue the bells, because this one's a bit of a fight. So, standing in the red corner, we have Virgin Orbit, and it's their point of view that the CAA's continuing lack of expediency regarding signing off on their operator's license is delaying their programs significantly. This is a multi-pronged problem for Virgin Orbit. First of all, I think they have a point here. The CAA is really holding ground over this, and they're given no explanations as to what the holdups are. And further to add to that, Virgin Orbit themselves are in a bit of bother because over the past couple of weeks we've been hearing that their stock price is absolutely tanking. In fact, they have actually suspended offering up more shares, and this is a worrying sign for the company as a whole. They tried to go to their parent company Virgin Galactic to borrow money from them, but obviously Virgin Galactic aren't making any money either. With Cosmic Girl and Launcher 1 currently being parked in a hangar at Spaceport Cornwall, it's not doing anything, and you have clients there with payloads ready to go to orbit that they're just not receiving the services. So they're not getting the income that they so desperately need. Of course, in the blue corner we have the Civil Aviation Authority, who are citing, quote, technical problems. Now, whether those technical problems is that technically Virgin Orbit has no money and can't actually afford to carry out the launch, we just don't know because they're keeping things quite close to their chest. But this is just not good. To further add to Virgin Orbit's woes, they have pushed back the launch date now until, quote, sometime after Christmas 2022. Well, as it currently stands, we're not going to get a launch on Christmas Day, so conceivably the earliest time we could launch is the 26th of December, Boxing Day. But that's not quite how it works. When a launcher operator, let's say they are given their license on the day this video goes out, they still have to give at least 2 weeks notice for the launch. That allows the various permits and things to be put in place around the launch site. Well, unless my math is very much mistaken here, 2 weeks puts them into 2023 at the earliest. The only problem with this is the launch window itself. It opened on the 29th of October 2022 and it closes on the 3rd of January 2023. So between Christmas and the end of the launch window in the new year, that's going to leave them around about 7 or 8 days to carry out this launch. So it's pretty much all but confirmed that it ain't gonna happen in 2022, which is really, really unfortunate. Ultimately, this one isn't going to be resolved until the CAA are happy and Virgin Orbit are able to actually carry out a launch. But as I said, it's a worrying time at Virgin Orbit at the moment, what with them having absolutely no funds left over. We can only keep our fingers crossed that they do manage to find some change hidden behind the sofa, or they get some in a card over Christmas, and that can keep them going. Will we get a launch by the end of the year? Who knows? It remains to be seen. Well, as we come to the end of 2022, depending on what happens with the UK spaceflight scene over the next couple of weeks and over the Christmas period, this might very well be my last physical in-person video for this year. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's taken the time to watch my channel, to comment, to leave a like and to subscribe. If you did like this video, do consider ticking the like and subscribe buttons and hit that bell for notifications on future updates on all things UK spaceflight based. I might consider releasing another Kerbal Space Program video before the end of the year, just for the fun of it, because I do like providing content for you guys. Drop a comment below and let me know what you thought about today's content. And as always, until next time, I've been Tom June. You have yourself a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time.